My last observation was with a chiropractor. It was a very large room. The chiropractor worked out of her own home after having a private office for 10 years. As a result, she used what looked like might have been her dining room, so there was ample space in the room. There was a desk in one corner. The exam table was laid out in the middle of the corner. Two chairs on the back corner, and then she even had on one of the walls like a little display area for selling orthotics and just different things that she recommended. Um, the patient is in her 70s. This was actually an observation with my stepmother that I observed, and I can't remember her exact age. Um, the doctor was probably in her mid 40s, and there was a therapy dog that was there for the patients. This is some of the vocabulary that I came across. The one that was really interesting to me was Visco Girl, which I had never heard of prior to this appointment. The patient has had a just chronic back pain, flare-ups periodically. No injury occurred, just something that every once in a while causes her significant pain. This was a maintenance appointment. Again, this was a chiropractor. So the patient started sitting upright on the exam table. She actually looked a little bit stiff. The doctor asked how she's been feeling. Was there any headaches, tension in the upper back? And the patient just responded that no, everything was pretty good. The patient lies face down. Her head is almost like in one of those circular, like what you would see on a massage table. So it's completely engulfed by this cushion. The doctor walks around to the back, grabs her legs, and says, one leg shorter than the other. I'll have to check your left hip. The doctor starts feeling around as the patient remains face down, asking if this is sore. Patient says no. The doctor then does a little bit of adjusting of her lower back. And then she starts doing I'm going to use the term cracking, but adjusting. And as she does this, the patient appropriately breathes out each time the doctor applies pressure to make the adjustment without any communication. She's obviously been doing this. The two of them have been working together for quite a long time. And as a result, the patient just knows what she needs to do when she needs to do it. The doctor continues adjusting her middle back, and they started chit-chatting just about how the grandkids were, what Halloween plans were. And the doctor asked, do you know what a Visco Girl is? And the patient says no. And I'm thinking, what on earth did she just say, Visco? Like, have never heard of this before. So she says, Visco Girls are characterized by using hydro flasks to drink out of. They're metal. They use metal straws because they have to protect the turtles. And they wear a lot of hair scrunchies. If they like a boy, like give one of the hair scrunchies to the boy. The clothing, messy t-shirts, messy buns. So the chiropractor said, I've learned all this so I can educate my patients to pass them along this information because, of course, kids don't share this with parents because we're not cool. The doctor then lengthens the table. Almost as if after she's made some adjustments, the patient's spine has kind of elongated and the muscles have relaxed a little bit so she can make the patient taller, per se, even though she's lying down. And then after she does that, she puts both hands on the back of the table and pushes downwards. So right at her hip joint, the table folds in half and she pushes down, stretching out the lower back muscles and lumbar and spine. So at one point you can see the patient must have tensed up and she just said, just breathe through it. The doctor then taps the patient leg on the leg. She flips over onto her side and then the other side, and the doctor adjusts both of these. And as she does the adjustment, if anybody's never seen this, basically the patient's head is pretty much in the doctor's hip. The top leg crosses over almost as if your body, the top half's going one direction, bottom half's going the other direction, and the doctor kind of then applies a pressure which cinches or twists the spine and the lumbar area to make some adjustments. Patient then lies on her back. Doctor raises the table and moves around to her head. Doctor sits down by her head, places her hand under her shoulder blades, and starts working some of the muscles and the knots that she evidently had up in her upper back and neck. Doctor moves the patient's arms over her head and checks the muscles in her armpit. And the doctor says, I'm loosening up these chest and armpit muscles to help with all of the problems in the upper back. The patient flips back over to her stomach, and then she says to me, just so you know, Jill, I can't see anything when I lie face down. It's just blackness. And the doctor says to me and to the patient, well, I always tell kids or whomever, it's your body. You tell me what hurts. If something is uncomfortable, raise your hand to signal me. We'd figure out how to communicate. Over time, you just know how to do it, which was very evident when the patient had her leg tapped by the doctor, and she just knew what she needed to do at that point, which was to flip over. The doctor then gets the EMS device and puts it on the patient's back, and the doctor types up some patient's notes while the patient is getting the EMS treatment and just says, okay, just relax for 10 minutes. Let me know when it's strong enough. This was just a regular appointment for maintenance of back health. The setting, there was really no miscommunication or any moods or emotions. Everybody was just kind of calm, relaxed. They definitely have a long-term relationship that was very evident in how they were communicating. So the top 5 demands would have been when the patient was lying down and the doctor said, oh, one leg is short, I'm going to have to check your left hip. At that point, the patient would not have been able to see the interpreter at all. And when the doctor was feeling around for the left hip and asking, is it sore here? I probably would have, again, had to found some way to communicate because if the doctor would be pushing around somewhere that is painful, I like to kind of give the patient a heads up of what the doctor's about to do before they do it. Well, anytime, actually. This patient knew what to do and how to breathe when the doctor made the adjustments, such as you exhale as the doctor is applying pressure to move with the force as opposed to against it. Again, new patient, this is not something that they would inherently know. That would need to be communicated to them. Also, when the doctor lengthens the table and then started pressing down on the back part, so it was like hinging. Again, patient's face was down, never did come up through any of this, would have had required additional communication. And then the part where the patient said, the doctor said, I'm loosening your chest or armpit muscles to help with your upper back. I would have just done more of an enrichment on this, as I think a lot of deaf individuals would have been thinking, how does my armpit and my upper back and neck muscles relate? My first thought was, oh my gosh, this doctor is amazing. She's not whipping through a treatment. It's not like an assembly line and getting the patient in and out of here in 5 minutes, which was my experience with a chiropractor. Every once in a while, some of the adjustments she did, I just thought looked a little bit painful. And I really was like, God, I wish I could get up there and have a turn at this, because my experience with chiropractors was nothing like this. This probably took 45 to 50 minutes. I was very impressed with this doctor. The dog was sitting next to me the whole entire time, and it was just a really peaceful thing to sit there and pet. Little tiny thing, maybe about a foot. I have no idea what type of dog it was. The physical distraction was, when they were doing the lower back adjustments and the patient's face was in the doctor's hip. It was just kind of like where would I go? If you hadn't seen it before, it does look a little bit odd. The dog was moving around a little bit. And yes, I was distracted by all of the cool things she had for sale. That's it.